Okay, this is our 7.7 video, distance and midpoint formulas. This should be your favorite one yet because it will be super short and some great review. So what I'm going to do in this section of notes, I'm not working any problems. I am just giving you a short list of what I'm expecting you to know. Because again, you already should know it. First thing, the Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem is used anytime we have a right triangle only. We have two legs, we will call them A and B, and we have a hypotenuse that we will call C. Hypotenuse is always directly across from the right angle, and it's the longest side. Pythagorean theorem is used anytime we have a missing side length that we need to know. Lots of shadow problems and things like that use the Pythagorean theorem. It's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And you just choose which one's missing and plug them into the formula. Here is something you need to make sure you understand. If you have x squared equal n, some number, then x is the square root of n, right? Undoing this square, it makes you square root both sides. So here's if you square root both sides. But x could also equal negative square root of n. And for example, here's a good example. Square root of if x equals the square root of 25, which is 5, x could also equal negative square root of 25, which is negative 5. And that comes from x squared equals 25. I probably should have said that first. Because when you undo squaring, you square root both sides. And technically, you could have a positive x or a negative x equal the square root of 25, which is, most of you have never seen it written plus or minus x, but you have seen plus or x equals plus or minus the square root of 25, which is x equals plus or minus 5. Because, again, 5 times 5 is 25, and negative 5 times negative 5 is still positive 25. So that is very important. Anytime you're actually doing the act of square rooting both sides, it's a plus or minus in your answer, like here. If you don't do that, you'll be missing one of the solutions every time. Okay? Next thing, there's two special right triangles that we need to know. Again, I know you've done this in Geometry and Algebra 1, so here's your quick refresher. There's my beautiful 45, 45, 90 triangle. And if obviously I have two congruent angles, I have two congruent sides, which makes this an isosceles. So my legs are the same length, and my third leg is x square root of 2, or leg times the square root of 2, if the legs are x. Again, Pythagorean theorem would also tell you that. If I have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, then the short leg is across from the shortest angle, or smallest angle, which is x. Then the next largest angle is 60, and that is x times the square root of 3. And then the hypotenuse is 2x, which is the 90-degree angle is across from the longest side. Couple more things. The distance formula. Between any 2 points, you can call them x1 and y1 and x2 and y2, or whatever you want to call them. But this is how I always set up the distance formula before I ever know any numbers. It's the square root of the difference of the x's squared and the difference of the y's squared added together. So we can say x2 minus x1 and y2 minus y1 if you want, or just plug in your points. Last one, midpoint formula. And the midpoint formula finds the midpoint between 2 points. And it's, if you think of midpoint like average, you average the x's and you average the y's. So you can, some of you write x1, x2, y1, y2, but either way, that's how you do it. So if you have any questions, let me know, but please have 7-6 and 7-7 done.